Hello, everyone. Thank you for waiting patiently as we got to the hour to start. Welcome to our session, Apps, Agents, and MCP is the AI Innovation Recipe at Microsoft Ignite. I'm Devanshi Joshi, Senior Product Marketing Manager for Azure App Platform at Microsoft. I will be joined by my Microsoft colleagues, Nir and Jordan from the product team, and Yoshida-san, Jun Yoshida from our customer Hitachi, to take you through how to go from traditional apps to agentic apps, see how agents and MCP tools combine as that innovation recipe to deliver intelligent experiences, scalable solutions, featuring live demos and real-world scenarios. And lastly, we'll have Hitachi come here on stage and take us through their AI and agents transformation journey, discovering actionable strategies for secure, scalable AI business value. All right, so for decades, traditional enterprise apps have been built for predictable, rule-based workflows, which are reliable, but always reactive. Now, they wait for user input and don't adapt with business needs. And that needs to change. Today, organizations want systems which are delivering outcomes, not just answers. And agentic workloads use AI to reason, plan, and act autonomously, helping businesses move faster, not just responding rather real world in real time with variability. So a great example, which we will see shortly, is how Hitachi has transformed their AI-powered maintenance platform with Azure by combining the app compute services, app service, and functions with Foundry and agent framework from Microsoft. And their decades-old equipment management is now a proactive agent-driven solution. We'll go through this with Yoshida-san on stage, telling us how they've unlocked speed, how they've unlocked resilience and new business value to their existing processes with AI agents. And that's the future we're enabling here, moving from static execution to dynamic autonomy with Microsoft technologies providing the guardrails and scalability for safe, impactful innovation. Now, let's look at the scale and urgency of this transformation. Most Fortune 500 companies are running over 20 years of old code. And that landscape is changing fast. So by the end of this year, we're almost there, we expect all enterprise apps to have some kind of assistance baked in. And by 2026, 40% of enterprise apps being agentic in experience. In fact, analysts are predicting 1.3 billion agents in production over the next 2 years. That's a massive shift. AI is moving from experimental to essential, and organizations that act now will unlock new levels of speed and business value. Now, with a show of hands, can you tell me how many of you use AI today? In your personal lives, at work, to shop, to explore, travel? OK, that's about more than 85% of the room, almost 90. And how many of you are today building or contributing to build agentic workloads at work? Wow, that is 50% of the room. Then you're in the right room. Thank you for joining us here. So the goal here for today will be to take you to 100% on how you can get to your journey of transforming with AI agents, become those AI builders and not just users, and navigate this shift successfully to building agentic experiences in your organization. Let's start with a clear understanding of the fundamentals and what defines as apps, agents, and tools, and what role does each play in this recipe of innovation. For that, I would like to invite Nir Mashkowski from the Microsoft product team to walk us through the experience.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Devanshi. So I'm Nir. I use some of these services. I don't know about you guys. I heard the AI is going to be big, and agent is a thing. What I try to sort of do is to make sense for it in my head, right? So what we have today, we have apps. We have trillions of lines of code kind of captured in those apps and represent all of the knowledge of our companies and how we do business. they're not going to go away. They're awesome. We still need them. We have agents. Agents are essentially LLMs with arms and legs, I would say. They're actually LLMs that can take action in the real world. But to take these actions, they need tools, right? And those tools can do stuff like calling APIs. They can also use 𝗀 to actually call your browser or automate things and pretend to be real humans. But in the end of the day, we're talking about acceleration of workflows, which is obviously interesting for everyone and required in this dynamic environment. So if you haven't been living under a rock, you've heard about MCP, Model Context Protocol. That's how the industry is sort of choosing to call these agents or implement extensibility into your agentic workflow, if you will. Here at Microsoft, we provide several things. One, we provide MCP interface for all of our large properties. You can use Azure MCP to provision, monitor, execute things on Azure. You can use GitHub MCP to manage your repo. You can talk to Office and so on and so forth. We're also providing a very easy platform and set of capability to build your own agents. All the way from declarative with logic apps, taking existing APIs, making them MCP without writing code with APIs, with API management. Or you can go and deploy your flavorful platform or SDK of choice and deploy it in a container on something like container apps or AKS. So another question I get all the time is, you guys have so much stuff, how do I choose? The things we'll walk you through today are the ones that are highlighted. But I think that it's very important for us to say that we want to come to you. We want to be able to support you anywhere you are. And one of the things I always kind of struck by is that these services are not about what you build. I can set up a web app on a VM running under my desk. It's about how you build them, and it's about how you maintain them. If your team is bigger, you might want to use Kubernetes, where you can realize economies of scale with hardware. If you're going to get up and running very quickly and you just want to do code to cloud, you can use App Service. And as it comes to building agents, you have the same kind of story. You can go all the way, code your own agent, implement the MCP, use it on Kubernetes. Or you can use AI Foundry, which a bunch of things that were announced yesterday, where you can basically use our agents SDK and deploy it into hardware that we manage for you behind the scenes with Azure Container Apps. Finally, for tools, the same thing. You can use logic apps and expose them as MCPs or APIs without writing any code. You can use Azure Functions, where your code is only about the business logic and not about infrastructure. Or you can do your own thing with container. Today, we're going to just walk you through one example of how to do it. It was important for us to go ahead and take an application that is sort of common and add agentic capabilities into it, both from the user perspective, but also from sort of the back office perspective. And for that, I will invite Jordan to show us the demo.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Nir. So today I'm going to give you a couple demos that highlight some of the features that Nir just explained. The first thing is, this diagram may look pretty familiar to you. It's just a very simple web app hosted on App Service. It's connected to a storage account. It's running on .NET 8. I'm not showing any of the security or networking components here. Just wanted to scale this down to the key services that are in use. So what this looks like, I have a fashion store app. This may look familiar if you were in our previous session, or if you saw me at Build earlier this year, or if you've been keeping up with all of my blogs over the last few months, because what I've been doing with this app is as new features have been released over the last few months, as Foundry has announced new tools, I've been just building onto this app and just trying to show how App Service and some of our other past services can adapt to all these new features and new tools that are coming out. So today I'm going to show you pretty much a culmination of a lot of those tools and new features that have come out over the last few months. So a bit different than my presentation at Build. So yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, this is a fashion store app. Ignore the assistant tab for now. We'll get into that in a bit. But this is pretty simple. You can add and remove items from your cart. So for example, I can add this shirt to my cart. And if I go into my cart, hopefully the internet is working in here. You can see it's in there. So great, I have this. Another thing I want to mention is that the inventory data for the store is hosted in a storage account. It's being connected to securely with a managed identity. So all that's taken care of, and great, I have this existing application. So my goal for this presentation is to show you how I was able to add intelligence, agents, and modernize this app with some of the new tools that were recently announced. So let me take you back to the deck. And I'm going to walk you through that experience. So this is what we just saw. The first thing I want to show you is how I modernized it. This does say Aspire. I'm not going to be going into details about Aspire today on App Service, but I did want to let you know that it is in preview, and we have some blogs and documentation out on how that works. But stay tuned for some new announcements in a couple weeks about our potential GA availability. So stay tuned for that. But the first thing I want to show you is take you back to my machine, is app modernization. So if you're not familiar with GitHub Copilot app modernization, and I know this might be a little small, but I can't figure out how to make it bigger in this machine, just to show you how quick and easy it is to modernize an app like this. So currently, it's running on .NET 8, and I want to make this run on .NET 10. So with GitHub Copilot app modernization, all I need to do is right-click on my solution here and modernize, upgrade to a newer version of .NET. And now it's going to go through and analyze and tell me how I can get there. So it's going to take a couple seconds here for that to come through. It's telling me I have some options, .NET 9 or .NET 10. It's going to set it by default to .NET 10, so I'm just going to say continue here. And right now, it's going to go through the process of getting this modernized. And I'm not going to sit here and watch it because that takes a couple minutes. We'll come back later and see how that turned out. OK. Just go back to this quickly. So the next thing I want to walk you through is how I added agentic capability to this app. I'll show you in the portal in a second, but first to quickly give you an overview, using the Foundry agent service, I created an agent. And then I added some additional agents for additional functionality for this app. So I have a main orchestrator agent, which is the one that I will be directly communicating with in my app. And then I have 3 sub-agents, one for cart management, fashion advice, and content moderation in my store to make sure that the conversations don't go awry and out of context. And some additional functionality, which I'll explain in a minute. I'll just skip over it here. The other thing I want to call out is that I now have a function app. This function app is built on top of the storage account where my inventory data is stored. This function app is actually an MCP server that exposes tools for interacting with the inventory. And I'll have a demo a little later on for why that's useful. But for now, I want to take you into the Azure portal to see how this works. Go to 4. OK, so these are the 4 agents that I just mentioned. The first one, the orchestrator or the main agent, it has 4 tools connected to it. 3 of them are the connected agents. And the one that I'll call out here is the MCP tool. So the main agent is also connected to the inventory, so it can look up what's in stock and provide information about that for the user. The fashion advisor and the content moderator don't have any tools associated with them. They're just there using their basic knowledge to answer questions and follow the instructions that were given to them. And the really cool tool is the Open API tool, which was given to the cart manager. And I'll show you what that looks like. So with this tool, you can give the API specification for your app to an agent, and then it can make API calls as needed based on the prompts, the context it's given. So you can see here I gave it the API spec for my app, and these are just the cart operations. So viewing what's in the cart, emptying the cart, adding and removing items. And then you can also see that I'm using managed identity to securely connect to my app. So one of the themes of today is also security, and everything done here is through secure means. Okay, great. So that is how our agents are set up. And with that, let's just do a quick demo for how that works. So I built this assistant tab, didn't touch any of the existing code for my app. Within about an hour of vibe coding and just reading some documentation on how to interact with agents, I was able to work with GitHub Copilot and VS Code to build out this new tab in my app. So you can ask things like, what's in my cart? And within a couple seconds, it should be able to use the API that checks what's inside the cart, and it'll return hopefully the shirt that I added a little earlier on. This does take a couple seconds because there are a number of operations happening. The agents are using the content moderator agent to check if this is an appropriate ask. It's then using the OpenAPI tool to check what's in there. So it did in fact see that I do have that item. And then taking it one step further, I can say add a small red checked shirt to cart. So now, in addition to just seeing what's in the cart, it's going to help me actually add items. So rather than waiting for this, I want to show you the operations that are happening in the background. For that, I just need the thread ID. That's this one. And you can see here, it's still trying to process that last message. I'm going to refresh just to see if we can get it. OK, so it was added to our cart, and you can see that same message is in our app. And if I go to the thread logs, I can see all of the steps that were performed by this agent. And on my side, I didn't write any workflows. I didn't add any code to tell it to do this. All I did was connect the agents in the Foundry portal, and it was able to orchestrate this based on the prompt I gave it. So just to look at a couple of the steps it took, it called the content moderator to make sure this was an approved message. It then used the MCP tool a couple times here to check if this shirt was in inventory. So I didn't actually use the name of this item, so it had to do a couple tool calls to find what the item actually was. And eventually, it found it, and then used the connected agent to add it to my cart. And that's where the message was created. So that's it for this first part of the demo. I added this agent capability within a couple minutes. I vibe coded my assistant tab, and I took an existing app, brought it into the modern day with these new capabilities. So hopefully that inspires you to also see what you can do with your existing apps and what's possible while you're on the side, maybe re-architecting for new frameworks and new features. We wanted to show you that you can take existing stuff and improve it very quickly. All right, so we'll go back to the deck. And the other part of my session today, I'm going to talk a little bit about MCP. So we all know that agents, they use tools to take actions, and MCP is the leading way for agents to communicate with these tools. So Functions has been around for a while now. It's been able to host MCP servers ever since the inception of MCP earlier this year and last year. So we've had our own MCP extension for Functions. This has been around, and we're excited to announce that's now generally available. In addition to that, we wanted to make it even easier for you to host your MCP servers on Functions. Functions are a great way to host MCP servers. They're cheap, they scale to 0, they're quick and efficient. So we wanted to make it even easier, and we're doing that by allowing you to bring your own SDK and host it on Azure Functions. And with that, you need minimal code changes, potentially even 0 code changes, just a config file, just to tell us how you want your MCP server to be run on Functions. But with that, in public preview, we are announcing the ability to do this. So really excited for that. And in fact, the MCP server in the demo today was using this, this method, so proving to you that that actually works. And with that, I wanted to give a demo for that. And before we do that, I also want to say that in addition to being able to host your MCP servers on functions, one of the leading issues with MCP is security. So there's a ton of ways where you can implement security, authentication, and authorization for MCP servers. You can use API gateway. You can host your own authentication protocols. But we are excited to announce that EasyAuth, our built-in authentication feature, is now supported for MCP servers hosted on app service and functions. So the tried and true process for adding authentication to your apps is now available for MCP servers, making it just super easy to add this capability to your apps and take care of that major issue that the industry is facing with MCP servers. So quick demo for how that works. I'm going to take you into VS Code, and this is that MCP server that is attached to our storage account for our inventory. You can see I have some MCP tools here for get inventory, adding and removing items. So connecting to that, you can see here, this is my config file. I will just start it. And there's no keys, no headers that I'm adding here. I'm just telling it to connect to this MCP server. And because I have authentication enabled on this, it should prompt me to allow that. And then I'll select my account. And within a couple seconds here, you'll see that it'll find the 5 tools that are associated with this MCP server. So giving it a second here. There we go. And then to prove those tools are there, we can look here. And here are those 5 tools. So in the chat, in GitHub Copilot or VS Code, I'll just run it again to prove it's working. What's in stock? And it should prompt me to approve the tool call. And it'll tell me that we have a bunch of items in stock except a denim jacket, and that'll be important in a second. Or the blazer is out of stock. So pay attention to this line here. The blazer is out of stock, so this is something I want to solve, as Nir mentioned earlier, not just using our store from the customer side, but also from the administrator side. So I want to show you an alternative way of connecting to this MCP server, and I'm going to do that with Teams. So I'm going to send the message because it does take about a minute to reply, and I'm going to tell you how this works once I send the message. So this Teams chat, it's using the same MCP server. You can see I said what's in stock, and the blazer is completely out of stock. So as an administrator of this fashion store, maybe I don't have access to the storage account directly. Maybe I'm on my phone, I'm on the run, and I want to update this inventory quickly. So I have a secure Teams chat, which I have access to, and I could send a message telling it, we got a shipment of 5 blazers and that we need the inventory updated. So while that's running, I'll just quickly show you how that works. This is just a function, and just to prove that authentication is enabled, we can go over to that tab, and Microsoft is my identity provider. I created an agent in Microsoft Foundry, and that agent is connected to that same MCP server, and it's using agent identity to connect to that server. And then I quickly built this, this logic app. And what this does is it takes messages whenever they're added to a specific chat. It sends them to my agent, who processes it with the tools that it has access to, and then sends that message back to the chat. This was something that I built in probably less than a half hour. And funny story about this is when I was building it, I shared it with Nir just to give it a quick check to see how it was doing, and he just couldn't believe how quickly I made this. So this just goes to show how quickly you can enable this agent functionality within your apps.
So I expect you to do more. So.
I'm happy to do so. So with that simple logic app, we should now see that it was able to update the inventory. And just to close things out, I want to go back to our store and prove that this actually works. So if we go to the inventory, let's give it a second to load here. We should now see that there's 5 small blazers in stock, and I can now add this to my cart. And from a customer perspective, I'm happy. And from the administrator side, I did this quickly and easily with these new tools that we were able to build. So with that, I'd now like to introduce Yoshida-san, the Chief AI Transformation Officer from Hitachi, to do our customer highlight.
Nice to meet you. I'm Jun Yoshida from Hitachi. And thank you very much for this opportunity to present at this wonderful event today. And now I'd like to introduce AI transformation project for industrial products in Hitachi Group. At first, let me explain 𝗬𝗲𝗀 and 𝗬𝗫𝗀. 𝗬𝗲𝗀 is a collective name of Hitachi digital solution. And since 2016, 𝗬𝗲𝗀 accumulated a wide range of use cases, data, and knowledge over the past 9 years. Hitachi Group provides mobility and energy and industrial products globally. And we collect and store IoT data from these OT products and create wide variety of values using AI. And many OT products like touring cars operated over several decades. As a result, we have a lot of use cases, particularly in the operation and maintenance domain. And this year, agentic AI and physical AI have become popular topics. So Hitachi is aiming to connect physical world and agentic world together to create new value. So today, we call the new initiative 𝗬𝗲𝗀 3.0. And this year, we are now continuously developing new solution. We call it 𝗬𝗫𝗀. So 𝗬𝗲𝗀 is one of the brand name or concept name. And 𝗬𝗫𝗀 is a new solution for Hitachi. And today, I will introduce one example of 𝗬𝗲𝗀 about AI transformation. And Hitachi Group provides industrial products globally, such as compressors and hoists, and inkjet printers, water pumps, and air showers, and others. We began embedding IoT sensors into these products and collecting IoT data in 2017. All IoT data is stored on Microsoft Azure. And to date, IoT data from over 30,000 industrial products has been accumulated on Azure. And this enables Hitachi to offer monitoring services as part of operation and maintenance, providing customer benefit such as operation support, optimization of repair, and energy efficiency. Next page. Hitachi connects people, machine, and data using the Microsoft Agent Framework. We have a lot of products like compressors and inkjet printers and others, and we collect operating data. In addition, we have a lot of documents to operate these products, including users' manuals, service manuals, and design documents. We have a lot of documents, and we store both operating data and document on Microsoft Azure. And using Azure AI Foundry and Microsoft Agent Framework and Azure Functions, we developed AI agents for maintenance service engineers. These agents help maintenance staff to improve customer service. Here is an overview of this system architecture. Maintenance service engineers access a web application developed by Azure App Service. And the AI agents were developed by Azure AI Foundry. And they run on Microsoft Azure Framework hosted on Azure Functions. Thanks to the serverless nature of Azure Functions, we can reduce infrastructure costs. And the AI agents are structured as multi-agent systems, and the orchestrator calling multiple AI agents as needed. AI agents include product description agent, status explanation agents, and failure prediction agents, and failure code inference agents. And each agent also calls various services via MCP, such as AI speech or AI search and Elasticsearch. So we developed a maintenance support service that fully leverages Microsoft services. Now let's take a look at a demo of this solution. In this demo, a maintenance service engineer checks the status of the air compressor. This AI system detects a high temperature and instructs the worker to clean the oil cooler. And it also provides various guidance on how to perform the task. So let's look at it.
The operating status is as follows. U123456 predictive sign of discharge temperature abnormality. To avoid discharge temperature abnormalities. 1. Ensure proper ventilation to maintain ambient temperature below 45 degrees Celsius. 2. Regularly clean cooling fins of the oil cooler and filters to prevent clogging. 3. Check and maintain adequate oil levels. To clean the oil cooler. 1. Turn off the power and ensure the compressor is not under pressure. 2. Access the cooler from the rear of the compressor. 3. Use compressed air or a soft brush to remove dust and debris from the cooling fins. 4. Avoid damaging the fins during cleaning. For a detailed diagram, refer to the following image.
This is a demo of our solution. And that concludes the introduction of our solution using Microsoft Agent Framework. Finally, Hitachi has transformed itself into a digital-centric enterprise, slowly leveraging the AI across the field of mobility, energy, and industry. We call this transformation Customer Zero, and we hope that our achievement will be utilized by our customers and partners. Among these partners, Microsoft is a key contributor, most important contributor for our Hitachi Group. We are co-developing solutions together, like today's solution, and building an AI ecosystem that contributes to society. Thank you very much. ありがとうございます。
All right, thank you, Yoshida-san. So far, we've explored the essential ingredients in the AI innovation journey for your existing application, how to add that, beginning with streamlining your code modernization, making it easy to optimize your existing applications. Next, we explored how to make your existing apps intelligent by infusing AI experiences without you being really an AI expert. If you're not, that's absolutely fine, but still being able to create smarter experiences. And lastly, bringing out whether you're using your existing application compute services with app service or functions without changing anything that already exists in your compute infrastructure, adding agentic capabilities on top of it. So the main part of this, at the center of it all, is security. And Jordan talked about how EasyAuth is now available across application compute services, app service, functions, and Azure Container Apps. And now you can easily safeguard your MCP servers, whichever service you're using to host these tools for your agentic experiences. And with that, this brings us to the end of the session. Please join us with some questions. The mics are open. The team can join me on stage to answer the questions. And the demo you saw today with Jordan showcasing the agentic app, you can try that in your own environment. Also, we have a lab for this exact scenario that you can try out, Lab 514, tomorrow at 11 a.m. So see you there for some hands-on experience. And any questions in the room, please come over.